there, it's Jenny here from our humble home, and I'm back again with a makeover. This little table actually I was given when I bought a bed from the Facebook marketplace, and I was mentioning to the lady I flipped furniture, and she was moving and she said, "Oh, do you just want to take this? I'm just going to dump it." And I didn't want to be rude. I thought, okay, I'll take it. But I'm thinking, it's got no drawer, and it's just a little table. I don't know if anyone would buy it if I did it up. I can't really use it. I've got enough stuff. I did take it though, and it's not too bad actually, but it is missing a drawer at the front. So I actually have used this before on a piece. It's a Kmart wall shelf, and I'm going to use the bit of wood that the string's attached to, and I did use another one once before. In a makeover, a dresser makeover, to actually fix a base that had rotted out. This piece, surprisingly, is actually perfect. A perfect size, perfect width, perfect everything, and that's what I'll be using to cover that hole that the drawer was meant to be in. I don't know what happened to the drawer, but anyway, this piece doesn't need much fixing. You can see that there were a few little bits of dents and dings in the top. There was a big knot I thought I would fill in as well, and they sort of become more obvious when you put the wood filler in. But yeah, it has to be done. And I did want this piece. I was thinking shabby chic, but I'm thinking, I don't want to distress it or anything, so I sort of want to make it look as nice as possible. And this was at the back of the piece, and the wood was a bit funny there too, and I did want to do over the whole piece so that it could be used as an end table maybe, so the back wouldn't have to be up against a wall. Like with bedside tables, the back's normally really yucky and old, and I don't normally do anything to the back. So what I thought I would do, originally I was just going to cover the wooden panel that I'm using as the dummy drawer front with this embossed wallpaper, and I have lately in my videos been using this embossed wallpaper that I bought. I got it from Wallpaper Direct. I think this one roll was about $40 something, which is really good value, and I bought 2 of them, and I think it was about 20 something postage and handling, but it works out great value. And I'm covering, I wanted to cover the front drawer, but having a look at the damage too on the sides, and especially on the back of this little piece, I thought I'm going to cover all of the panels. So I'll cover the side panels, I'll cover that back panel with that really rough timber, and yeah, I'll just measure it up, cut them to size, and I'll glue it on to the little pieces at the little panels. Just ignore David if you see him. I was joking to him. Every time I film a video, you're either lying on the couch outside or inside. But he's not always asleep or lying on the couch. And if you've watched any of my other videos, you will know that I do always, with my little pieces, sell coasters that I do up, and I'll either cover them in wallpaper or paint them, or stencil them or do something to them. So with this little coaster, I'll be actually covering it in the embossed wallpaper and painting it, so it should come up really pretty. What I do now is actually place the hardware whole, like drill it in before I actually even start painting or covering the piece, because in the past when I've left it to the very end, it's been very stressful because the piece is completely finished. I'm thinking, now if I make up this last step, it will be all a waste, and I'll have to, I don't know what I'll do, because normally once I drill the hardware holes, I've waxed them as the piece as well. So I'm drilling this first, and it's sort of tossed up whether to even put a little handle in here, being not functional, but I thought, well, if it's a dummy drawer front, then I wanted to make it look like an actual drawer. So I thought, and even if I changed my mind, I thought I'll drill the hole anyway, the paper will cover it. And I did give the piece just a quick scuff sand as well. after sanding out this wood filler. The scuff sanding just lightly can sort of scar the surface and make it a little bit rough and just give it something for the paint to actually stick to. But you know, you've got to be careful not to, maybe unless you're completely sanding the top, got to be careful not to take too much of the paint or stain off, because if you hit through the actual timber, it can sometimes cause the tannin to come through. I cleaned it with sugar soap thoroughly, and then to get off the sugar soap residue, I just sprayed it with water, and I'm wiping it over thoroughly to get any of the sugar soap residue or any dirt that's left behind. That will take that off, and I let it dry. And I'm applying the glue here. This piece I wanted to get done in one day. I thought, I'm not spending any time on this. I normally can spend about a week on and off doing 2 bedside tables or a bigger piece, but I thought I don't want to. So this is actually night time that I'm doing this, and I wanted to do this. I would have done it in the whole day, but the thing is, you have to I let this dry overnight. When I apply my wallpaper, I let it dry overnight because I actually sand the edges of it, and it has to be completely dry, otherwise it could rip the paper. So I let it dry overnight. So that's why I'm doing this actually the night before, getting all of this prepared so that the next day I'll just be able to start the painting.
Let's get crazy, glitter everything. It might take some time to feel alright, so come with me and live it up tonight. Glitter in my hair, glitter everywhere, jumping all around but we don't care, telling crazy stories, some are even hunting. I love this, and glitter in my head, glitter everywhere, jumping all around but we don't care, telling crazy stories, some are even hunting. I love.
So when putting this embossed wallpaper on, it is important to make sure the glue's all spread out and covers every little piece of what you're sticking it onto. And I always really smooth it out, spend ages smoothing it out, because you can get pieces that don't stick. I think it's actually being the embossing that sort of sticks up and isn't sitting flat, and I always just wipe it over for quite a while, and then even after I've stopped I'll go back. I don't normally wrap the embossed wallpaper over my drawers. I just sort of sand them off at the edges and stick them to the front, but because this is a whole piece I'm sticking on, I am going to wrap it a bit like a present, and yeah, and I'll glue it then onto the front of the drawer. But I just wanted to make sure the whole thing's wrapped. I thought it would have looked messy, have it just painting the sides of this, the edges of it, and so yeah, I thought I'd wrap the whole thing. It would look a lot neater.
Read a book and order all the food in the world. Heat up the beach and we'll go swimming. We'll forget about the world. It might take some time to.
And so this is a little coaster that I'll actually sand the edges of the coaster as well to make it, I think it just makes it look seamless, because when you stick the wallpaper on a surface, the edges are never, even if you get it the exact size, the edges sort of don't stick down properly, if that makes sense. They sort of stick up and you can sort of feel the edge and feel like you could sort of lift it up. So I will just sand it so it's the whole thing is stuck down, and it looks pretty seamless too. But I wasn't sure what colour to do this piece. I had a few, and these were just leftover chalk paints I'd made. I decided on white because this piece, I don't know, I just wanted it to sell, and I wanted to get it out of the way, and white will always sell. Well, it should sell normally pretty easily and quickly. So that's the colour I chose for that. And I had this little wooden decal that was on a mirror I turned into like a wood look sort of window pane thing. And I'd actually taken it off previously to put on something else, but I decided against it. So I thought it would actually look good on this, because I wanted to make this not provincial looking, but I did want to make it like, oh well, not shabby chic either, but more of a chic-y little piece, like a I don't know how you'd explain it, just something sort of pretty and not rustic so much, but sort of old but new at the same time.
As a family, there is no place that I would rather be. Glitter in my head, glitter everywhere, jumping all around, but we don't care. Telling crazy stories, some are even hunting. I love this scent. Glitter in my head, glitter everywhere, jumping all around, but we don't care. Telling crazy stories, some are even hunting. I love this scent.
Like I said before, I decided not to put primer on this. I thought it didn't need it, and plus I wanted to get this done really quickly. So I'm just using the chalk paint that I had left over. So this chalk paint, I made 1 part talcum powder with 2 parts paint, and I really love it. Lately I haven't been able to buy the talcum powder or powder with talc in it, so I'm trying calcium carbonate, but because I had this left over, I wanted to use it. And I really do love this chalk paint. It sands back really nice and smooth, and it gives a beautiful finish and really great coverage. I did end up putting 4 coats on this all together, and I just scraped through and had enough. The embossing part I didn't though. I did 1 coat, and then at the very end, when I knew I didn't need any more for the rest, I just quickly lightly went over the embossed part again, because that was white anyway, and I didn't want to waste the paint when I was running short. These little pieces, when I sanded back the first coat, the paint just came off them really easy, and I thought, are they nails or something? I'm not sure what they were. I don't think they were nails. Maybe they were knots or something in the timber, but I decided to use my enamel primer there and just spray over that part, because I didn't want the paint to come off there once I'd solved the little piece. And I wished really that I had actually stuck this on after I'd painted the piece, because it was very hard to get into the little nooks and crannies here, but it was okay. I just laid it down on its side and sort of I could see what I was doing then. Yeah, it was a little bit fiddly but satisfying at the same time. The handles, because they were dummy, it was a dummy drawer front, the handles I knew didn't really necessarily have to be functional. I'd bought these little, they weren't paper, but they weren't timber or anything, little flowers from Lifeline. When we went to Bow Desert once, there was a Lifeline out there, and I always like looking in there in the op shops to see what you can get. And I bought a packet of those. I thought they might come in handy. I thought that would be cute actually on the front of the drawer, but I decided against it. And a few other ideas. I'd use this little piece I got from, you can buy them from the $2 shops. That was I think $2.50 for 2, and sometimes I use them at the bottom of the handle to give an interesting look, but I just didn't really think that that colour or that design went with the floral and also went with the decal that I'd put in. So I decided on this pretty sort of like marble looking handle with a gold edge, and that I bought from Kmart ages ago, and that was when they were getting rid of their old stock. So packs of 2 of these for $2, which so $1 each, which is really great value.
Anywhere you go,
And I decided to actually paint the little coaster in a contrasting colour. I thought pink would sort of go with the handle and stand out. Just use a skewer to poke the hole through the paper so I can put the jaw handle on. It took a little bit to do this because the actual screw was a bit long, and every time I went to screw the handle on, it just kept turning, which wouldn't have mattered either, really, because it's not going to be used. So I used like a floor stopper thing that I used, and that sort of took up a lot of the slack, and that worked really well. And I'm using my maxi nails again just to apply the jaw front to the actual piece. Just go ahead and paint and not worry about any mess, because I am really messy when I paint, so that's why I do that. And as you can see here, when I sanded back, I had to sand back a lot to get that wood filler off because it set really hard. I sanded right back to the actual wood, and that caused a bit of a problem. I noticed a bit of bleed.